Good afternoon, prospective flying locomotive captains. This is No Respawns. Hope you're doing well. So this is Sunless Skies, a game by Fail Better Games that has very recently left early access. And with that in mind, I wanted to do a kind of a full release video on it. This is a game I'm a Kickstarter backer for. I didn't actually play it very much in early access because I'd already kind of contributed to the game. I just wanted to play it in its finished and intended state because it's quite a narrative game and I didn't want to kind of unlock things as I went and instead of kind of enjoy the experience in one big go. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is a very narratively led survival game with roguelike elements. All of the landscape is randomly generated in terms of where the locations are. And it's got quite an extreme survival element as well. It's very, very cool, and it's got a very incredibly weird and cool backstory and setting. It's very grand. For those of you who played Sunless Sea and also Zubmariner, will be familiar with the concept and the world as a whole, but this will obviously introduce you to how the game is a little bit different. So the aim of this video it's mainly aimed at people who are completely new to the series, as give you an idea of just introduce you to the concept, but also give you some best practices. So what I'm going to try and do here is be spoiler free, which is why I'm going to kind of demonstrate how you do some of the quests in terms of just, how you interact with the world, but I'm going to kind of skip through the text so that way you can unlock the story yourself, because it's very important. It's one of those things that is this game, and I wouldn't want to ruin that for someone, in sense of I'm not going to say, oh, go to this specific station because it's a really good idea and you get this here. Instead, I'm just going to say, I'd recommend doing this. And I'll also show you some gameplay as well. Just for the record as well, for a lot of you, this won't be the kind of game that you particularly like. If I'm utterly frank, it's quite slow paced. It does have quite a bit of action that you will see, but it's of a different kind. And this might not be your thing. So, just a record, if you don't like slow-paced narrative, lots of reading, this probably isn't the game for you. Anyway, so let's just jump straight in. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the interface. I'm not going to go through the tutorial. I'm just going to kind of draw attention to a few things, rather than necessarily, go through the tutorial, because there's a tutorial at the start and you can go through that. So this is only about 3 minutes into the game. It's literally just after the opening tutorial, and I've just kind of effectively selected the dynasty or the kind of origin of my captain, and we're kind of on our way there. So one thing that those of you who played the previous games will like is the fact is what Fail Better have done is they put a lot more thought into how not only the origin story of your captain, but also how they develop so you can choose a facet and grow stronger, and it also adds to the legend of your captain. It's quite cool. So I chose a soldier. There is, because this game has just left early access, there are a few little bits that they're still ironing out. Stuff that you won't barely notice. This is the only one I've noticed, put it that way, which is just that my origin story described here isn't actually the one I chose. So I chose a soldier, but I'm actually part of the Royal Corps of Engineers, but it says I was part of the Royal Horse Guards. It's absolutely fine because it affects my stats. So a soldier adds to my iron, and then dependent on what subgroup I choose, it increases my various points. But the cool thing is, the Royal Horse Guards would have actually added it on hearts, but I chose the engineers. So just as an FYI, that if you look down there and you're confused, it's just because I think they've just got to tweak that. Hint, hint, Fail Better if you're watching this video. So let me explain the stats for those of you who aren't really familiar with what they are, because they're a little bit confusing and weird at first. So there are 4 main stats: iron, hearts, veils, and mirrors. And now these obviously affect the stats of your ship to an extent, and also your crew, but their main use is through tests. So I will be speaking to someone, doing a quest. You'll absolutely see it in this video, so don't worry, or kind of completing an action. And for example, if I have high iron, so any action that requires me to fight or use physical strength, I'll be easier and more adept at doing that. Same with hearts, so if I'm either in an action where I need to convince someone to do something, or I need to endure a hardship or pain, high hearts will make that a lot easier. Veils, deceiving, evading, so if I want to trick someone, steal something, or get out of the way of something, veils. And then mirrors is investigating and deducing, so that's a bit more esoteric. Things like searching a location for a certain item. It's quite cool. It makes a lot of sense, and it's something that you'll kind of get quite quickly. I went for iron just because it's a helpful one to have, plus I'm going for kind of an RP playthrough, obviously, and therefore having high iron and being a soldier, because I'm going to be quite loyal, I think, to London to an extent. I wanted to be kind of like, I wanted my character to be based in that. For those of you who aren't familiar with the series, I'm just quickly go over. You get, everything is represented by, I guess they're kind of like cards, even though they're like little circular things. They're actually, think of it as like a deck of cards in a lot of ways. It's the easiest way to think about them. And they each have a rating. So this is my character status page. So it sees my affiliations, events, my soul, and my peculiarities. And each of these has a card, and this list can grow more. So there'll be other images, cards that will be added in, and they each have a number associated with them. For example, this is a better example. So Fortune's Tacites, which is one of the factions, is 25, and then Fortune's Stovepipes is 25. So these numbers will raise or lower dependent on my interaction with other factions. Same with Affliction Villainy, my affiliation rather, can go up higher, so I could be Villainy 10, which means I'm a bit more embedded into the villainy side. And there are other affiliations. Once you've got a few hours, this will be way, way longer. The good thing to note about things like this is it doesn't take up any of your hold. So you see down here where it says 912, that's my hold. Now, the reason being is you'll often find items which possessions, so you've got hold and then you've got possessions. You'll find possessions such as this black box, which you get from your previous captain, that is an item that's in your hold, but it doesn't actually take up space in your hold. Stuff in the hold is usually stuff that trading goods, so supplies, mascots, and equipment will go in your hold, but possessions, so quest items basically, will not actually take up any space. So it's worth something to bear in mind if you think you can't transport a load of goods. It might be that if it's not a good and it's like a person or a quest item, you're okay. And again, this will completely fill up. So it's very, very straightforward. Also to note as well that your locomotive has several slots. So for example, I have, because I'm an early access backer, you start off, you get this bat in the tutorial, which is like your lookout, which for those of you who played Sunless Sea will know is the button you press to search the surrounding area. As I'm an early access backer, I actually get a Cyclopean Owl. I'm going to put them in there. Now, he takes space up in my hold. Right, now my first best practice tip is that once you've left New Winchester, which is the central hub for this specific area, go to another station, do a stuff. When you come back here for the first time, it'll unlock the bank. Now, I don't have it yet. You can see it in the... if I see it in... where can I see it? In the shops. If I go to shops, I think. I should say... Victoria. There we go. In the bank, right? So I haven't unlocked the bank yet. The reason being is, obviously, for now, he's going to take up one slot, but eventually when I come back and the bank is unlocked, I'll then be able to, dump him off. You also get with your starting locomotive, gets 2 small weapon slots. So I've got this Cotterell and Hathering at Jerusalem. It's just a typical cannon. I can have a second one. This one is just left click, so that one will be like right click to actually activate. Then you also get slots. Let me just go to the shop. So Abraham's Engineering is where you get your equipment. You'll figure these make sense by their names. So for example, I have an auxiliary slot, so I can put anything from an additional cargo bay to this canning station, which takes at the slot. You can see where it says slot in the corner. A drill, and then also have a deck slot, which allows me to kind of increase my crew capacity, and also more gear as well. So for example, there are certain different kinds of weapons. So this is more of a grape shot blunderbuss, and this is more your standard cannon, and this is a bit different as well. We'll meet other ships as we explore, and you can see them using the weapons, so you'll get an idea of how things work. And there's also bronzewood shielding. There's also in the shops, you've got the Victoria Market where you get supplies, engineering is where you get the equipment. The engine yard this is where you replace your locomotives. And as you can see, there are various different kinds. I'm almost certain there are different kinds available as well in other areas. Now, there is also the Bazaar. Now, this is a new thing that's unique to Sunless Skies compared to Sunless Sea and Zubmariner, which is this is one of the most reliable ways of making money. So there is actually a tutorial section. If you go to the stories, this is where you kind of explore. If you go to Explore City, and there's learn about trading here. You could completely just go through it, and you can repeat the stuff again, and it'll tell you about it. But effectively, what this does is it allows you to go to these bazaars, and there are prospects available for a certain. Say there are new prospects in 30 in-game days, news prospects, but these are the prospects available in New Winchester right now. So seeds for Magdalens, you can see it says 5 gourds of chorister for what is it, Carillion. So what that means is I need to grab seeds and whatever these gourds of chorister are and deliver them, and I will make a lot of money. Now it's worth noting as well that this will be, you've got a certain amount, so 3 sacks, and this is 5, and because claim this like this, so this is yours now, and they'll appear there. You can have up to 4 going at one time. In every station that has something like this in, there will be under shops, and it will be under bazaar. So if I click away, there's nothing in there now. There's no new prospects. And it also tells you how much sovereigns I have as well. This will also show what the item looks like as well. Now, getting onto this will actually tell you where you need to go. So, for example, Magdalens lies to the north-northwest of New Winchester. Now, if you've played Sunless Sea, you'll actually be familiar with this, but basically the map is completely random. So all of the locations are in a certain area. So in here will be the same locations. However, they'll all be in different positions. In case of North Magdalens, it'll be northwest. So it'll be up here somewhere. And then if I go to, which is this one, southeast. So this is Carillion, which will be to the southeast. So it'll be about here somewhere. Might even be within this little area here. So the idea being that, you know, you replay the game, the map will be different. And the subject of the map as well, this isn't it. This isn't the whole thing. I panicked a little bit when I saw this. I was like, that is tiny. They're actually other maps, and they're quite varying in size. See, they're one smaller, this one's smaller, and then this one's very, very large. I think roughly the map seems to me about the same as Sunless Sea and Zubmariner combined in terms of the scale, which is quite cool. To get to the other sections, this one's broken. I think this one needs to be repaired, but you just go through these little transit relays. But usually you have to unlock the area in some way first. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of jump straight into it in terms of just showing you a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip through the text so you don't know what's been said. But I'm going to recruit a officer first, and then I'm also going to get this lady here, which is one thing I recommend you do first, which is the fastidious inspector. Just pick her up. So I'm just going to get this guy. The way the text works is it's quite kind of, you know, you choose an option. Do you want to allow this guy? It's very much, I don't want to show you much of the text because I want you to experience it yourself. But effectively, I'm going to recruit this. This guy's always available. I said, pays, I need 20. Hire him. And I've recruited this officer. On the notes of officers, you have to equip them first, right? So currently I've got, this is my pool, so eventually I might have 3 chief engineers I can choose from, and before they're in use, I have to select them, right? It's very important to note you can only do this when you're at a station. So if you're not docked at a station and you want to change, let's say you pick up a new engineer on randomly, which that can happen, you can't actually equip him until you've or her until you've actually gone to a station and changed them. Same with all of the others. Right, and let's pick up this. Again, I'm not going to let you read this. I'm just going to pick up this lady. She wants to pick me up. I mean, you can skim if you pause the video. You could have you could have read that. I'm also not going to do any of this. One thing to note, there is an ambition. I will just quickly, briefly draw upon that. The ambitions are how you complete your captain, right? So you start off with 2. There's 3 actually you can do, and then I haven't actually completed one of the ambitions yet. I've done it on Sunless Sea. There are actually loads. One thing to bear in mind with Fail Better, the developer, one thing they like doing is they like adding new free content to their games all the time. There will absolutely be new ambitions going down later down the line to do more weirder things. So the first ones are just amass loads of wealth. I've chosen the fame, so I have to basically ponder my ambition. So I have to gather tales of terror and sky stories to begin the Song of the Sky. Those are possessions. So if I go to here, they'll be in there. I think it's in that section, and it'll be little anecdotes, effectively, which I can either use and like share my anecdote with a character to complete an objective, or I can store them up and then get the 7 of each that I need. So what we're going to do is we're going to bugger off. So firstly, where does he need to go? So as mentioned, I've done this one before in another character, but I need to find northeast. So before, to give you an idea, I need to go up here, but last time it was here. So we're gonna head off and go. I'm not gonna get any more supplies. Oopsie, it's gonna lag out a little bit when I. Please don't hit anyone. I'm gonna head out. So the way navigation is really straightforward. If you've got it, you've already played the tutorial, so it does go through quite easily. I'm gonna pop up here, and it's quite straightforward. It's worth noting that you can dodge, right? So if I press E or Q, I can dodge the side. This is very important to combat. One thing to know is it's always, so E is for right and Q is for left. It's always noting that it's your ship's right or left. So you can find yourself, now I'm just pressing Q. But now if I press Q, I go that way. It seems straightforward, but you're going to find yourself in combat not paying attention, panicking, and smashing yourself into a wall or smashing into bullets. It's kind of an acquired skill. Always just pay attention to, mentally before you get into combat, pay attention to what is your ship's left or right. Right, now these two things are something, as a tip, is these are 2 stations you can dock in. The Victory Hall and the Company House. One thing you can do, those of you played the previous games know, you can gather port reports. So they'll actually describe to you what a port report is. Effectively, when you visit a new port, you can write a port report, and then you can deliver it to one of these 2 factions, and that will affect the balance of power in this location, which is cool. So you make sure you decide who you want to do. Unless you want to do both, for whatever reason, keep them viable. I'm going to side with London, even though I do like the independence movement. My narrative is I'm going to side with London. So this will be the Windward Company, and see, I can just take a look around. She'll tell you what to do. So as you visit ports, you may obtain port reports, turn them in at Company House or Victory Hall to receive rewards. So the rewards aren't always the same. Certain port reports might be more valuable than others, but generally you're going to get around 100 sovereigns for it. So it's quite a valuable, it's a useful way of gathering money. As you explore, make sure you write port reports. I'll try and do one when we find a place. And also it'll affect the balance of power in the location. So I need to go, again, it's northeast. So I need to go north, so it's going to be about there. Right, so that isn't an enemy. You'll probably start recognising the ship, but it says Tackety Scouts, so that's going to be fine. Be warned, though, that as you probably gather already, these guys are pretty all over the place and will smash into you and damage you, and that's a bit of a ball ache. So be a little bit careful is what I'm saying. A couple of tips you can do if you press L. Now you notice my Terror. Terror isn't as big a threat in this one, at least in terms of how immediately dangerous it can be compared to Sunless Sea, which I'll be utterly frank, I quite liked in Sunless Sea, but it is what it is. There's a ship, so what I can do, I can actually turn my light off. He's already spotted me already, but I can make myself harder to find if I want, but I'm not. I'm going to fight this guy. Now, with combat, I would always recommend probably trying to get into slightly more of an open area. Don't be too close to the walls, because you're gonna smash into something, and it just gives you a bit more room to maneuver. Also, you may notice that little bar filling out at the bottom, so don't let it fill out. Pay attention to where... Oh, I got hit. Pay attention to where your left is. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. These guys are reasonably simple. I did get hit there because I was talking, but realistically they're pretty straightforward to do. You'll get used to it. Aiming can be a bit difficult at first, but you'll kind of get it. I must admit, it was a little bit easier when I used the controller, but the game still isn't optimized for menu navigation with the controller just yet. There we go. Dodging is important. Just what I find is it's better just to be out on the open, so that if you forget what your left or right is, which I completely do all the time, it doesn't really matter. As long as you don't accidentally dodge into the way of the bullet, then that's annoying. Oh, this is new. So often you'll get a random thing. Usually you can loot them for something. Often you can strip them for parts and repair your ship. A little tip is I wouldn't worry too much about that unless you're severely damaged, because repairing isn't that... Because it's easier to make money in this game this time compared to Submariner and Sunless Sea. You'll get it, but it's not. I'd recommend trying, unless you're particularly damaged, I'd recommend doing something else. I can recover its weaponry. What I get? Ooh, that's new. I think I need to be at a station to I need to be docked. I might how far are we? No, I won't equip that yet. But that's actually a very rare find. I've never found that before. So that is cool. So effectively that's a new weapon. So that was the weapon he was using. So that'd be cool. Now on the map you'll see you get little things like this. This is a wrecked ship that I can board, and I can also show you some of the skill tests. So I'm going to scavenge this. So you can see right here, I enter through the yawning terror in the hull, use my veils, so as then it's kind of sneaking in, or I can slip for repairs. There is less chance of me doing that, so I'm not going to do that. Often it's more of an irons test, which is what I'm better at, so I'm actually just going to repair my ship. A little bit of a waste. Normally I'd prefer to... Oh, fuck. Ooh, hello, gorgeous. Yeah, that'll sometimes happen. But it's fine, because now I get to loot this guy. Backpedaling and shooting is good. Aiming is hard. Boop. Boop. The good thing is, once you've dodged once, you kind of, it's a bit... Ooh, but careful, dodging also does take heat. Oh, God, I wasn't paying attention then. There we go. I also leveled up, so I can demonstrate how leveling up works. There we go. Board the defeated Marauder. Ah, here we go. So this is a quest. I'm going to find this. The captain has got Sky Madness. I'm not going to let you read that, but I'm going to be nice and bring him on board. And I've got a Tale of Terror as well. And then in this instance, you can then still loot the ship. I'm not going to repair it. Loot the hold. A solid crate. So I've got a barrel of unseasoned hours. Is that... now often... No, it isn't. But often you'll find the stuff that you need for this one. On a previous playthrough, I found all the seeds I needed from destroyed ships. So it's a useful thing to do. Now this is that lady I picked up. Basically, you can talk to her, and it'll advance your relationship with her. And I'm not going to let you read, because she gives you lots of kind of background, but I'd recommend just complimenting her skills. Did I just do that already? Okay, I'm just going to say bid her good evening. Obviously, talk to her, but compliment her skills. Just do everything. This is a game that, unless you've done something before and you specifically know the outcome, I would recommend just, trying and doing. So I need to go northeast, so I need to go a bit more this way. Sometimes it can be hard to tell what is a wall and what isn't. Obviously, you can just use the map, which is probably the easiest way. But also, if your torch will not shine over what is. So, for example, it's shining over this, so I know this isn't wall. But I'm going to have to go all the way around, aren't I? Was it northeast? I was about to go northwest, wasn't I? I was about to go northwest. Let me just double check. Is it northeast or northwest? It's northeast, so I was about to go the wrong way anyway. I want to go this way. I was going to go over there. So it is a very atmospheric game. Again, I can turn the lights off and, like... Is that a person over there, actually? And sneak by people. I'm assuming the higher your veils, the easier that is to do. Oh, no, that's just a watchtower. Now, one thing you can do is, obviously, I'm now a bit more further out, and I don't know what's around me. I can press F, use my owl. That does use up a little bit of supply, so keep that in mind. And he's discovered 2 locations nearby. So there he is. And you've got the little legend at the side here. So it's a wonder and something grave. So that's usually a crash ship. So I'm not going to do the wonder yet. So something wondrous. I know that there is one wonder in this level that just lowers your terror, so I'm not going to do that yet, just because it's a statue, basically, that when you go near, it's wondrous and you guys aren't scared anymore. But I'm going to do that when my terror is actually a little bit higher, because there's no point doing it now. But I am going to go this way, into this. You can get upgraded scouts that actually provide you with a bit more information at the cost of not seeing as many things. There is another one of you. Surprise attack. Also, you may notice he's not seen me yet. He's not made the noise. See? Useful little way of kind of... There he is. Now he's seen me. That's so you can tell they've seen you. You get a little notification. And also, always remember what your left and right is. It's kind of it's about not panicking, really. Whoop. Ooh, see. Ooh. But it's quite useful to do that. If you see a Marauder from a distance, or any enemy, just try and, if you want to attack them, just turn your light off first and then shoot them a bit. So I said, I'm not really that damaged. See, it tells you here. Because basically, that's 25 hull, right? So I've got 5. Each point is about 3 sovereigns. So to fully repair this from 1, which is on once, it was only about 80. So, to be honest, unless you're really damaged or have no cargo hold. Like, for example, that many sovereigns was more than what it would have saved from repairing myself. Okay, I just want to ditch this lady off. And the ships have really cool names. So again... Oh, I can mourn the dead. I haven't done that before. This might change. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay. So I can... reduce my terror, which not by very much, to be frank. Possibly not worth it. The problem is, sometimes when you fail an activity, you will lose something. So you can often still gain something, actually, but you might gain through losing. You might get a different item, right? So next time I do that and that one comes up, I'm going to try it. I might get it, in which case, cool. Now, a little bit of a tip is I'm near a settlement right now. The reason why I know that is because I can hear people fighting. This area is a bit of a war zone between the two factions here, and they're often beating each other up outside of the station, so you can tell. It's a really useful way to pick up cargo, but also it's a really good, useful indicator. I think it's up this way. Yeah, and the music changed as well, so it's going to be up here. What do you think? Oh, fuck it. I'll just use my owl. I can hear them fighting. There we go. Ah, so it's all the way up there. We've got 2 graves here. Let's just have a gander at those. Oh, not graves. It's just something of note. So, for example, I believe here would be... Oh, no, that's not one of them. So this is something... so I need an assaying skill, so I need to be able to actually look at that, which I can't do yet. It's a piece of gear, I think. I can do that one. But you'll hear those guys fighting. Now, this is a useful way to get a few of the quirkier items. Especially items, this is one of my pro tips, is especially things like seeds or the stuff that you need for this is often in the ships we're about to find in a sack. And what you can do is you can just wait for them to destroy each other or just kind of snipe someone when they're really, really hurt. It's quite a dick move, but... And it doesn't seem to lower... It will piss off the ship and any of their allies. Also, be very, 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 very careful not to get caught in the line of fire. Especially on the dreadnoughts. They do have a range, so you're all good in that regard. Also, remember to pay attention to your terror and your supplies while you're ambling around. Oh, yeah, that dreadnought's going to kick their asses. Yeah, okay, that's another one of those. So that guy's going to probably go. So I'm going to help these guys out a little bit. I won't even bother, actually. I'll split them. It's useful because you can get a gauge of how, like, what the weapons look like In terms like that's the one of the rapid fire small weapons. But also how much damage. Sorry about the police siren if you can hear that. I swear, like I've mentioned this a million times, the second I record it summons people up. There we go. So I'm gonna loot that guy. I don't know if they can loot it as well. No, they don't seem to loot it, which is good. And I'm just gonna seize its cargo. I've got some bronzewood. Bronzewood is very good. With specifically the faction ships, there's a person you can hand their nameplates to. Once you've spoken to that person the first time, you'll get an option to take nameplates from these ships, and then you can hand it to. So if I were hunting these guys, I could hand them to them, or these other ones as well. It's worth noting that that will obviously make the other faction dislike you to the point where they might start attacking you on sight. So just as an FYI. Currently, you start off as neutral. Anyway, let's drop this lady off. Also, we're a little bit low on supplies too. But she gives you a load, so spoiler. So it's aight. It's just up here. Now this, you know, this is here, but I've had it over here, down here. So each time it's going to be random, which is fun. But again, there are kind of best practices you can follow. I was hoping to find something in the way of... something in the way of the trading goods I need, but unfortunately not. Let's see. So you can explore here. I can recruit people as well. This is one of the bigger ports. So I'm going to explore Port Prosper, and I'm going to write a port report. Again, I'm not going to bother reading this. Normally I'd read this really slowly. So now I can hand this back, and I'll demonstrate that in a sec. And this will be a contender parade. I'm not going to do that. I am going to see. So in every section you'll have the bazaar. So this means there's not a prospect available, but there's bargains available. So if I had a prospect or somewhere that was going to buy a pane of stained glass, I could buy it here and then sell it for more somewhere else. Also sells things. So I'm going to sell... Do anything I can sell at all? No. Alright, well in that case I'm just going to hand this lady in. No. Deliver here. Deliver the fastidious inspector. Yep, it says, accept your payment. So I've already spoken to her, and she's very, very happy. So she's actually giving me more sovereigns and loads of fuel. I'm actually a little bit overstocked. So what I can do is just sell some stuff I don't need. So I'll just sell 2 of the fuel. Oh, selling. Boop. Bump, bump. There we go. So now I've got 349 sovereigns, and I haven't even started doing the prospects yet. So the stuff I can do here, which I'm not going to, but this is an officer I can hire and things like that. But again, I don't want to really ruin the stories for you. But what I'm going to do is get that. So I now have 2 weapons, and that also frees me up some spot. I should have actually done that instead of the thing. And I'm going to go back now to the original place. I'm going to drop off that port report, and I'm going to sell this. There's loads more I can do here, but I obviously don't want to show you for a lack of a thing. One thing to note as well, Port Prosper specifically, because it's on the edge, is one of the areas that's just before... So you have to, obviously, you have requirements to get through there, but this would, the Albion transit relay, so this would take me to, I'll go that way, to Albion, which is where London is. So there, and this would be the first step to going to a completely new region of the game. I'm not going to do that though, but just as an FYI. It's there, but obviously you want to get as much as you can from this area. Realistically, I wouldn't go to a new area unless my quest was telling me to, just because you've still got stuff. Because of the way this game works with using up fuel and supplies, you want to always be efficient and make good use of your journeys. For example, I want to return this stuff and sell things because I want to buy myself an expanded cargo hold, so that way I don't have to worry about, you know, because I've barely got any space. With the expanded cargo hold, I can carry 5 more things, which for me with the prospects is really, really useful, because it means I can carry enough fuel, pick up a few random items, but also have the stuff that I need. I'm also going to keep an eye on these lads too. So one of the things I like doing, if ever these guys are on fire, then I attack them. I take them out. I finish them off. Those guys, you can get usually about 3 or 4 supplies from them. They've got cool stuff. But beware, again, that they're going to take a few hits. Oh, you can also see I've got 2 weapons now. Let me just move this guy away. I'll show you what the other one looks like. He will, you can see he's keeping an eye on you. He won't actually attack you. You can tell they make a little hooting noise when they're about to attack you. I'm going to go around this way. So I've got this weapon. Use up a lot of heat. So what I could do, for example, is turn off my light and just shoot him, shoot something twice, which I will try and do. But again, don't let your thing. It makes your everything freeze up. You can't dodge. And also, I haven't had it, but I believe it can probably give you a chance of actually setting fire to the engine. This is a very, very atmospheric, very, very. It's one of those games that I'm really excited to play in an evening. You know, get a cup of tea or a beer and just kind of have a little bit of an explore. So this, see, this is the unknown rat, which enables me to lower my terror. I'm pretty sure the unknown rat is actually from Sunless Sea, if it's the one I'm thinking of. But it might not be the same rat. Okay, so I'm just going to go down to New Winchester now. And we'll see things. Ah, guys fighting. Yay, guys fighting. Ha. So that guy's going to fight me now. I'm tempted to actually let him kill him. But the Marauder is going to get destroyed by that, so it's not really a... Boop. So I've increased... That means I can't shoot for a bit now. Aha! Look at that. Get in. Get shit on! Right, so we got here. Oh, so also note your mirrors. It actually tells you, but if I wanted to repair even more, my mirrors skill would enable me to get more. Let's just... Me and my bulging sack. Lamau. I could attack that guy. I'm not going to because he's a much higher class of locomotive compared to mine. But if you were on fire, I would have absolutely just creeped up behind him and just blah blah. He takes like 2 hits from your main weapon. That's quite cool with that gear, though. That's awesome. That enables me to kind of do surprise attacks on ships. Also, the regions change quite a lot, so we're about to get... You see, you can hear the rain. The maps are beautiful. Everything's so varied and everything's so different. It's just gorgeous. I would say that compared to Sunless Sea, rather, this seems easier. Would be my takeaway from this game. Is that it seems at least... Which I think is probably a good thing. I really liked the crushing difficulty. It's not that it's easy at all. But I think maybe Sunless Sea was terrifying. Come here, you gorgeous. Missed. That was terrible, David. Oh, he's dead. Yeah. There we go. Ha! Ah, so this is just... You can hunt animals as well. There's also stuff I can do. So I can do... if I had the canning, I can actually butcher it. And you can actually... Like... Oh, so I can actually drill scraps this maybe. Yeah, so for example, I can, if I was low on supplies and had a cannery, I could have, used this to actually get some more food, which is what I want. But I think I probably need a bigger ship, to be utterly frank, because I want that cargo space, but I also, the cannery uses the same slot as the cargo space. So let's see. You will always find, but you may lose crew. Let's do something easy. So I've got irons, so I'm going to prize precious stones from its carapace. I failed, god damn it. And I lost 1 crew. That was rare. It happens, it happens. Oh, and don't forget you can still smash into things. Yeah, like, oh, what's this? Ah, so there we go. Here's a random homestead, and they're shooting at me, so I'm going to return fire. That's quite cool. Partial success. Ah. That's nice green spray. See you, the villains. Oh, I lost another crew member. God damn it. Okay, so it's worth noting that, like, also, once I'm at under half crew, my locomotive will then start to move a bit slower. So it's worth noting that's why you'd, ha! Get shit on. Okay, I like that gun. So I'm gonna... There we go, same thing. In this instance, they each get... Not everything is the same. So, for example, this one I can listen to its last complaint. And I get experience and a sky story, which I need as I'm doing the fame one. Okay, I need to go on that way, because we're already 40 minutes in, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. Oh, is that a thing? I'm actually going to quickly just use my owl, see what's around here. Even if I'm not going to explore an area, it's sometimes prudent just to kind of double check. See that literally there's a place there. I'm going to quickly write report actually then. And there's also some valuables there, so... And another police siren going by my house, because this is my life now. Oh, I don't know what are we going to do? So one thing to note is I got the original... I've leveled up twice. I haven't even shown you leveling up. Sorry. So I'm going to do first thing is... So I've been scarred. So I want to raise my hearts and my veils, I think. So I'm going to do a spell in prison, because you can see where it says there. The base... And then plus choice of the two. So I'm going to do... I was in prison, I served my time quietly. Hearts and veils again, so I could just do a little bit of a scandal. But there are also these. So as you go on, you'll not only get an increase in your stats, but also an increase in your affiliations or some other extra thing. But I'm not going to worry about that too much yet, and I'm still going to do the scandal because I want to get my hearts and my veils. So I had a bit of a torrid affair. Sorry to say, everyone. Sorry to say. I will note that all of the locations have the same ending. So, for example, I knew I was near Port Avon because I'd been here before because I'd seen those creatures around. But what I'm going to quickly do is disembark. Okay, I'm not going to let you, but this one is a certain kind. They even have different interactions. So I'm just going to literally write a port report. Good, and I'm going to just go to the shop. I'm not going to explore because I don't want you guys to know. Seeds. So this is what I need for my, in that case, this video might be a little bit longer than I intended. So I'm going to buy the seeds I need. And I'm also going to sell some stuff. Selling, do I have enough? We'll be fine. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to now, I'm afraid to say... Oh, no, wait, I'm not going to go there because I don't actually have the space for it. So I've got the seeds I need now. When I actually find the place, I thought it was up there, isn't it? So I've got Magdalene's, which is in the northwest. So basically, over there somewhere is another port called Magdalene's, where I can sell these 3 seeds and you get loads. You get about 100 and nearly 200 sovereigns, 240 sovereigns, I think, for the set. And then you get another 100 sovereigns as a reward. So you get like 400 to 500, which is effectively a new cargo bay, or a third of the price of a new ship. So it's worth kind of bearing in mind. I've got to plan my next ship, actually, because I said, you can see ships have extra slots. So I want a ship with more cargo hold, but I'd also like potentially at least a second auxiliary slot. Let's go through here, and we'll go to New Winchester, and then we will leave it there. Oh, it's a bit more peaceful now. Well, to note as well, what I could do is I could start talking to my officers as well. And you can do that anytime you want. I'm not going to do that because obviously I don't want you to know what's going on. But it's always worth it to do because you'll often... There's a story arc that will complete. Sometimes this might mean you potentially even lose the officer if, they die for whatever reason. But it often means that you get some kind of improved version of them or some kind of reward or that kind of thing. So let's... we're nearly there. This is down. So I'm back where I started, which is cool. As I said, normally, if this were me playing just on my own, I would have also explored those places. That's 2 ports I haven't bothered exploring at all. But I know I'm going to go back there anyway, so it's fine. But, you could explore them. There's loads of story to go on. I wanted to show you kind of how... Because the stories are... I don't want to spoil them for you, basically. I think the problem with a video, that's why I was trying to and ah how I do a video on this without ruining it for you, and I figured, alright, I'll just kind of show you how to survive and get the most without actually telling you specifically what to do. So let's just drop off at New Winchester. I'm going to sell... Oh, actually, I'm going to drop off those port reports first, because that'll give us loads of sovereigns, then I can get the expanded cargo hold, which I'm going to need, as I've already got all those seeds. The music is gorgeous in this game as well. I really like it. It's just something. It makes me feel. They've got the kind of explorative. It's just very It just makes me feel like I want to set off in my flying locomotive and explore the not the undersea, but the skies of the roof of the chasm. Always be careful when you dock, because you can smash into it and lose a. Especially from 1 health, which has happened to me before. So right, I'm gonna trade in my port reports. So I just got 100 sovereigns for each. I got fortune, so see the stovepipes, they've now gone up, and the other faction, the Placated, they've now lost. So the port reports, unless you don't want to side with either side, it's very important to make sure that you give them to one or the other. She also sells freeze and diverse souls. Always good to check. But no one's buying them. I don't think, Oh, I won't bother. I mean, it's just up the road if I want to. I think London might sell them. If London... They're 55 purchase, so if they're, if London are buying them for like 100 or something, then I'll quickly just dive up. Not in this video, obviously, but when I start playing afterwards, I'll quickly dive up and sell them. Yeah, it's a lot easier to make money in this compared to Sunless Sea, which is good, I think, because Sunless Sea, the best way to make money was actually wrapped up in quests rather than trading, which I think is better this way, because there's still loads of money to make in quests, but at the same time you can trade and just kind of, actually build up that way, which I quite like, because it doesn't force you down a path, which is what this game shouldn't do, and it doesn't, which is nice. So let's shops. Oh, here we go. So this is now I've come back. This is the bank. I'm not gonna let you read it or anything like that. So I've now got the bank. So what that means is I can go to the bank and I can drop this stuff out. What this means is that this will actually be passed on to my successor. So if I wanted to, I could drop all this stuff off and go kill myself, and then my successor would start off with all this stuff. So worth noting. Okay. Let's just see. Selling? Okay, yeah, so I can sell these for 80, so I can make a little bit of a profit. I can also sell the bronze wood, which is what I'm going to do, even though I possibly might need that for something later on, but I want money more than anything, and I'm not selling my seeds because I need them for something else. So I've got absolutely loads of stuff, right? Now, to give you an idea of the size of the ships, it doesn't show you the slots they have. Oh, no, it does. So, for example... some of these ships, I'm thinking I'll probably go for the trader, because see, it has 2 auxiliary slots, and basically the only thing it doesn't have, it has a smaller crew capacity, but it's fine because I can just buy an item that gives me my crew. There's loads of stuff. In the ideal world, I want loads of auxiliary slots, which is the best one. Yeah, I'm going to just go for this one then. But first, it's better to get other stuff. So I've got... So I could save up for that, because I'm not actually very far away from it, and it would be a bet of... Oh, I need higher mirrors, though. So what's my mirrors right now? Yeah, so if because I get my mirrors up, I think it'd be better just do this, and then I can just sell this one at like half the price or something. So if I sell that, how much do they buy it for? So there we go, sell it for half price. So what I'll do is I'm going to buy an additional cargo bay. Install that. Ooh, I'm going to install that. There we go. So now I can carry 17. So I've got 10 more slots now. And then when I want to get rid of that, I can just sell it and replace it with all of this other stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, that's, I guess, my introduction to Sunless Skies. As I said, I just wanted to kind of show you how the game works. Possibly, you know, for those of you who are kind of a little bit overwhelmed with what I should do, a direction to go in at least. Obviously, unlike me, actually... you know, explore the story. Don't just speed by it. But anyway, only did that so that way I wouldn't spoil anything for you. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. I will obviously have new videos up and coming this week. If you have any tips, kind of best practices for Sunless Skies, please put them down in the comments. Also, just a record, if there are any spoilers in there, I will just delete them. So just maybe, if you want to kind of hint at stuff, be vague. Don't outright tell people what happens. But if you have any ideas of like, oh, by the way, if you do this, it's a really useful way of making money, or, fighting enemies like this, then definitely put those in the comments. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy it. Definitely pick this game up. Failbetter are one of my favourite developers, and I want people to buy their games so they make more of them. Anyway, you lot take care.